I don't know how many times I have said that already, but I will say it again. Hangzhou is my favorite place on earth, and I don't see that ever changing. Before I moved to China, somebody shared a piece of wisdom with me that I since have found to be the ultimate truth. They said that wherever you first end up in China, even if it's a small, remote village, it will forever hold a special place in your heart. For many people, it's because of the first impressions. The sense of wonder at being immersed in a completely different world. But for me, it's more than that. For me, that place is Hangzhou, and it has never stopped feeling like home. The first time I visited Hangzhou was in 2016. Back then, it was different from how it is now, and yet the heart of the city, the things that make it Hangzhou, have remained beautifully intact. Change is something that you have to get used to in China. Cities evolve at a pace that is hard to grasp if you've never experienced it. Towering buildings rise where humble shops once stood. Entire neighborhoods seem to transform overnight, and new technology integrates seamlessly into the daily lives of people. It is a part of China's unique energy, the constant push towards the future. But even with all this change, Hangzhou retains its soul. The city is an exquisite blend of the ancient and the modern, where history and nature coexist with cutting-edge urban life. And the heart of Hangzhou is West Lake, a place where time seems to stand still. The lake is surrounded by weeping willows, arched bridges and stone paths that wind their way through pagodas and temples that have stood for centuries. On a quiet morning, with the mist hovering over its still water and the sound of birds echoing through the air, it's easy to see why poets, painters, and emperors alike have fallen in love with the city for millennia. In Hangzhou, you don't simply just visit history, you can feel it. And even as the city changes around it, West Lake remains a constant, a tranquil retreat amidst a bustling city. The Asian Games brought another wave of development to Hangzhou, and the city has embraced these changes with characteristic grace. The metro system, for example, is now a convenient way to get around, making it easier to explore the city. It's moments like these that remind me how Hangzhou is both timeless and forward-thinking at the same time. While the cityscape may change, the essence of Hangzhou, the culture, the beauty, the deep sense of history stays the same. I really envy people who can just travel, just like that. You go to a place for a week and then you leave and that's it. I am completely unable to do that. The prospect of going to a place and then leaving and never coming back again feels extremely sad to me. But Iga, you could always go back. Yeah, right, and have my heart broken all over again. The problem is that you never know which time will be the last. And I have to say that going back to Hangzhou this close to leaving China entirely might have been a mistake, because it made me rethink the whole thing. Hangzhou has absolutely everything. You want water? You got it. You like hiking? You can have it. Want to work for one of the biggest companies in China? Sure, why not? West Lake might be the most recognizable thing about the city. It's not the biggest. You can walk around it in 4 hours or so, but it is definitely one of the most beautiful sceneries I've ever witnessed. But most importantly, despite its popularity among tourists, there are places around it where you can be completely alone. No screaming kids, no singing shoo-shoos, and no dancing eyes. I fully understand it if you like crowds. Sometimes when my depression takes over, I like to go to a mall just to feel like I'm not alone. And it works. Hangzhou really is a place where you can make a choice. You can choose between the quiet solitude of the lesser known paths and the warm embrace of its more touristic regions. It really is amazing to me that I have never seen anyone fall into the water with the crowds that I get around the lake. Especially during the Mid-Autumn Festival when everybody wants the picture with the full moon. If you've ever been to China, you probably know that it's very easy to monetize culturally significant places. Temples, museums, parks, and I don't only mean the national parks. Sometimes just a regular city park will have a ticket. But not in Hangzhou. You can sit by the lake for free, you can hike for free, even museums are free. No ticket for any of these. When it comes to Hangzhou and Suzhou, there is a certain standard for city planning. This is something that I've been told at the university and I haven't been able to verify, but I am inclined to believe it's true because it brings immersion to a whole new level. When you are in the scenic areas, you're not supposed to see the skyscrapers, highways, and all that. You're supposed to be at peace with yourself, whether the beauty is natural or man-created, and it works beautifully. I can't help but look at all the opportunities the city have given me and feel like I can never express my gratitude enough. Every time I felt bad, these stone paths carried me up the hills. Every time I had my daily problems weighing down on me, its water soothed me. And every time I thought I was ready to come back, I felt like I could ruin it. I feared that if I go back, I might break the delicate bond that I formed with the city, a bond that lives in my memories, untarnished and pure. What if the Hangzhou I remember no longer exists? Or worse, what if it's still there, but I've changed too much to fit back in? The nostalgia I feel for Hangzhou is powerful, almost overwhelming, but it's tinged with a bittersweet realization that some places aren't meant to be revisited, at least not in the same way. I carry Hangzhou with me every day. Its landscapes, its rhythms, its quiet whispers of comfort. It will always be my sanctuary, the city that gave me so much when I needed it most. And maybe that's enough. Maybe it's enough to let Hangzhou remain perfect in my memory, a place I love too much to risk losing to the passage of time.